What's going on, guys? DeathMercenary here, coming to you back on Pitforge, play.pitforge.games. I'll put the IP down below in the description. Welcome back to another video. Let's get raw into it, shall we? Wow! So, we finally made it. We finally made it. And we actually have some giveaways to do. Hello, welcome. There's a lot for this video. As some of you know, we are Pitforge, or we are the recreation of Pitforge, since Pitforge was shut down about 5 or so years ago. As a result, we have recreated it and we're up and running again. We released, we had 200 players, which was awesome, and we've been doing pretty steadily ever since. Some bugs that we've been patching, some lag and whatnot, and then we also have new content coming in soon, but for now, we're just working on the server. My name is Josh, otherwise known as DeathMercenary or Ivory. I am the sole owner of Pitforge currently. I have a co-owner who helps run things with me, and then I also have a team of staff and admins that are currently helping me run the server. But for the past 6 or 7 weeks, I have been taking time off work to focus solely on creating this project, and all things considered, has come out a lot better than I was expecting. I was expecting around 100 players on release, so the fact that we had double that has been awesome. There's definitely a lot of bugs that we're still ironing out, and to be expected. Even multi-billion-dollar companies, when they release games, they're gonna have bugs. It's just something that happens because it's impossible to get the hundreds of hours of, even tens of thousands of hours of playtime that you get when you have a live product. We did have a beta that we went through rigorous tests with, but with that, there was still more that needed to be done, and there's still more updates that were being introduced as time progressed. Welcome to my room. I'm planning to do more of a streaming thing, YouTube thing here soon. I've been consistently uploading on Jailbreak MC, which is another sub-server that we have, which is a Jailbreak remake, and that one has been doing decently well as well. We had a very good peak when we released, and it's kind of declined since then, but that's not why we're here. We're here currently for 3 different reasons. One, I have a Q&A that I'm handling, one with the community. I also have 2 giveaways to announce, a Reddit and a Twitter one. And then after that, I gotta start talking more about the server and the direction it's heading. So first, let's do this giveaway. For those of you who weren't aware, we held many giveaways on the Discord, Discord, the Twitter, and the Reddit. Really big giveaways, hopefully, so that we can get more players. Just so we can spread that out there, as well as give a lot of players a head start as possible with ranks, PayPal, things like that. So let me go ahead. We're going to shift over here, and I'm going to go ahead and enter in all of these IGNs into a quick random number generator thing, random spinner thing, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, we have the first giveaway set up here. Currently, there is 43 entries, and we did agree to do, let's see how many winners here. Winners will be picked on June 9th. Today's the 10th. I did do it a little late. I apologize for that. So I announced 2 winners. We're going to do 3 just because it's a little late. I have my puppy here. Let me let them out real quick. Alrighty. I'm excited. I don't think we have any duplicates, so we should be fine. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to spin it. We're going to spin it. Oh, actually, yeah, we can shuffle it a little bit. And then we're going to click the spin. And we're going to hope for the best. And good luck, everybody. And let's click it. I should have put my name on there. Damn. Jack 14 and IMAX, and you got so close, but the actual winner was NTG1787. Congratulations on winning. Go ahead and join the Discord if you haven't done so already. Discord.gg/Pitforge. Make a ticket, and I'll give you the rewards there. Let's go ahead and remove you from the list, and let's spin again. Ooh, Sugo 18-7. Congratulations, Muscle Bomb and Dukunde. I think that's how I say your names. Apologize, you guys were close, but not close enough. Let's go ahead and remove Sugo 187, and let's spin one last time. Kind of hypnotizing to look at. Ikmasmal almost won. He won the Discord one already, but Vang's actually got it. GG. Congratulations. Make a Discord ticket if you haven't done so already, and you will be able to collect that reward. Let's go ahead and remove that, and let's go ahead and go to the next part of this. So that was the Reddit giveaway. Let me load this up with the Twitter winners. Participants. So give me one moment here. Alrighty, we got this set up now. We actually only got 26 people for Twitter, which is a-okay, but that does mean that they have better odds. Let me see what we decide for the winner. Oh, it looks like we're only doing one winner here. Alrighty, so 1 out of 26 chance, about the same odds as a roulette wheel. So let's go ahead and spin it, and best of luck to everybody. Go. No way. That's insane. Okay, just because Vang's won twice, we're gonna spin it again because he doesn't need to win back-to-back that many times. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove him, and we're gonna spin again just to be fair. That's insane. Bro rigged it in his favor for sure. All right, let's go ahead and spin. Damn, in the same spot, but we got Michi18 for a winner. Congratulations. Thank you all for trying. I'm going to be doing more giveaways on my channel, the one that you guys are watching on currently, so always stick around for that. So if you watch through everything, you'll see nice little entourage of yeah. of giveaways. I'm going to be doing a series on here. We'll start with that. I'm going to be doing a series on Jailbreak MC. I'm still continuing on. I'm on episode 14 at the moment. And then I have Pitforge now that I'm going to start doing. Don't know how I'm going to do there, whether or not I'm going to be doing a solo faction or what. Solo faction, I'm probably going to get rated a lot, but we'll see what happens. Because my job currently, right now, I quit my other job. I do have some other side incomes, but those are pretty like self-sustaining. Like they only generate a couple hundred per month, but they do exist. But my full job right now is running the Minecraft servers, so with that, the content, I'll be able to be a lot more active. I'm just trying to figure out the right way to balance it, because currently I need to be spending a lot of time in bug fixing and update releasing and all that. But eventually we're going to outsource to a new developer as well as a new owner or admin for Pitforge. At some point, that could be literally like years down the line, or it could be tomorrow. At some point, somebody will replace me as the management side of it, and then I will be able to focus on my next project. But this is for the future. And let's go through the list here. Disable streamer mode for the time being, and we're gonna go through our quick Q&A, and we're gonna answer all these questions. First things first, when does Faction War and Raids come out? So that one is, it's two different answers. Currently I'm planning for Faction Wars to come out by next Friday, which is currently, at the time of recording this video, in about 4 days here. That's the plan. It could get delayed a little bit, but that is when I'm planning to have Faction Wars release. Realistically, when it comes to Faction Wars, it should not take me that long to do at all, because it's just going to be very quick in terms of bug testing and all that, and I'm planning to outsource it, or not outsource it, sorry, planning to set it up for the main server that everybody's playing on, and then there's going to be another server specifically for wars, free-for-all, that type of thing, and so that server will be the one that everybody connects to. And in terms of setting it up without dupes and whatnot, it'll be super easy to do. It won't be a hassle at all. So, like I said, we're expecting F-Wars to come out this Friday. If not, it'll be coming out next Friday. F-Raids, those will be coming out on not this Saturday, but next Saturday, 2 weeks from release at 1 p.m. And when raids do release, they will be only on the weekends. We're thinking around maybe Friday midday to Sunday midday, or maybe Sunday evening. So just enough time for everybody to cover their bases, and then after that, you can't raid from Monday through Friday morning. So the Monday through Friday morning will be unraidable. And then with this, we're also planning to keep raiding times around a couple, maybe 6 or 12 hours in between. So if you get raided once, someone can raid you again in 12 hours for the cooldown. There will be, however, some sort of scaling that we're going to do based off of the amount of damage. So if somebody raids you and then immediately stops the raid, or someone tries to raid themselves for immunity, there's things that we'll definitely be checking for and preventing. Obviously, you can't raid yourself for immunity, but the goal is have raids done in 2 weeks from release day. And then we're going to be doing it only raiding on weekends. Fermented Spider Eyes will not be added to the shop currently. Last time we introduced Poison into the season, Poison was really, really overpowered, as well as harming potions. So we're definitely trying to not have that. That could change, but at this time we have no intentions to implement Fermented Spider Eyes. Gen Buckets, it's currently on our list of things to do, but there is no set time for that. We're releasing things as priority. Currently, Gen Buckets should be released by this weekend, because we want to release it in time so everybody has at least a week to build their base as necessary. And then, of course, after Gen Buckets are released, they'll be chilling. But so I would aim around this weekend for Gen Buckets to be fixed. One of the biggest things we were focusing on since release was making sure the server can handle all the players that came in, because that was the biggest thing when we were doing beta testing and whatnot. We only had up to 40 players at one time, and then we released me at 200, and server wasn't able to handle it initially. Also, the plugins weren't handling it well as well, as we had some outdated plugins and such that weren't handling a lot of what it needed to be doing. And as a result, first couple days wasn't really that much bug fixing, but more of just lag fixing. And we have successfully fixed all the lag. Okay, not all, most of the lag. There is going to be some changes that we do in the future, not currently focused on, because we got a big source of the lag handled. But in the future, we plan to start, I think sharding is the official term, but we're going to split up the server into different parts. And it's something I've been talking to the community about a little bit as well, because I want to see how many players we want, like in Warzone per se, if we want it too crowded or whatnot. And one of the biggest things we're going to have is when we get to a certain size, we're going to have different region war zones. So you can go into Warzone and only interact with, let's say, German community, because that is a big community that we have. And so you'll be able to connect to the server through a German IP, and then provided you're staying in the German war zone most of the time, you're going to have a lot better ping than if you go. And let's say, because currently the server is hosted in Canada on the East Coast, so you'd have a lot better ping than going there. And then same thing for like people like me, I'm on the West Coast. Ping wise, I'm still a lot better than players in Europe space, but it's still a little laggy for me, so I would like a West Coast location at some point. But this is stuff for the future, but eventually we're going to get to that point. The same thing with factions, we're going to be able to slit it and shard it up a little bit so that players, when they play, it's still going to be like mesh and still going to work together. There's still going to be like, sure, you're going to raid a base that might be in an American time spot, but everything's going to be like linked together, and it's going to be cool. I'm very excited for it. It will be fun to see, but that is the reason why some things aren't coming out when we wanted them to. Let's go ahead and go to the next question here. TNT Bank and TNT Fill. So yes, actually we do have plans currently for TNT Bank and TNT Fill to be implemented. Whether or not that comes out before raiding will be one thing, but it's definitely planned, I promise. I do have a lot of aspects that I wanted to implement that wasn't in the original PitForge. Small aspects in here like quality of life, like TNT Bank and TNT Fill. I do say anything that you can store into your faction, like TNT Bank, is going to be quote-unquote raidable. So if we ever do introduce a faction vaults or a faction bank, based off of the amount of resources that are taken, not the amount of block, because anyone can just nuke a base and we don't want that happening. We just want the amount of resources taken. So amount of items that are looted from chests, the amount of spawners that are taken, stuff like that. Not immediately introduced, but eventually will be, so that it'll loot a percentage of the faction balance, loot percentage of the TNT balance, things like that. As for a cannon jar, we do plan to implement one. We've been using our own for the longest time, which seemed to work, but that was also in script, which we've converted all to Java. I have done my best to do so smoothly. Whether or not it's working is another thing altogether. I hope to have a cannon server out by next weekend that will hopefully be able to handle or display the cannon jar as intended, and from there we'll get a whole bunch of testers for that week who can tell me what I need to change about it, what's working, what's not. If the cannon jar that I designed doesn't work, then we will probably end up using Ninu's one, which he made for PitForge way back when, since that one seemed to work and everybody was happy with it at that time. Butcher's Club, when is that fixed? That is actually being fixed as of now. It is currently fixed. I just have to reboot the server. So as of June 10th, 5:38 p.m. it has been fixed. So, but thank you for the question. As you can see, this was from yesterday, so we are actively fixing things, I promise. TNT drops for creeper is going to be a thing. Yes, there will be a very small % chance of TNTs dropping from creepers when they die, and there will be an even smaller % chance of creeper eggs dropping from creepers when they die. Not currently implemented, planned to be, but it's just on my list of many things to do. Capture points, and probably down here a little bit more information about capture points. Capture points are releasing soon. Currently, we didn't release them initially for one of two reasons. One, we wanted to slow down levels a little bit, because one of the biggest things about the server is players level up immediately, and we've countered that in two ways. We've nerfed XP grinding against mobs, and then we also nerfed just capture points and XP boosters haven't been released. They also haven't been made, so it's 0 for 2 on that. We do plan to make them. I promise they're coming out soon. When they come out is a little bit harder to say, because they are something that players want, and I do want to recognize that. But with it I want to prioritize other things as well. They're definitely on my list of things that need to be implemented, but also I value faction wars a little bit higher, of course, rating a little bit higher, and I do want to rework the current capture point process. So I will plan to implement the capture points, but they also might get reworked within a week. So the standard concept of capturing all 3, taking a couple seconds to capture, might be completely changed. You will have to stay around for that. But specific timeline, I don't want to give a timeline and then not stick to it, but I would say safest bet be this weekend or next weekend. Definitely by next weekend. By next weekend they will be released, or I owe somebody money. Fix being able to kill allied people. That was actually already patched yesterday. There was a bug where you could shoot your teammates. Oh, sorry, that was faction members. The allied one has not been introduced, so I will be able to probably do that today because I'm doing all the bug fixing today, so that's something you can plan on happening. Is the mob XP going to stay 1 XP per mob, or is it going to increase? Currently, mob XP is half of player XP, and player XP is based off the amount of damage you do to them. So if you're getting only 1 XP per mob, you're probably not doing enough damage. You need to level up your skills. We may increase it, we may decrease it based off of the current needs of the server. Currently, we expect players to grind mobs just like in their free time. The main sources of experience gain should be Warzone, because we're trying to push PvP, not so much as grinding. Of course, there's RPG concepts, so there's grinding altogether, but we're trying to focus on interactive grinding. Of course, like I said, PvE is something that's going to be done. We're also going to be implementing new things in the future as well. Bosses will be coming out within a month, definitely for the July event that we're planning. And with bosses, every time you kill a boss, you get a percentage of the XP that it takes for you to level up, instead of it being a flat experience amount. So Koth and bosses will be very good for higher leveled players, and this way you could be needing 1,000,000 experience, but you're going to get 200k because it's a fifth of the requirement for leveling up after 1 boss kill or something along those lines. We're still working out the final details. It might be 20 bosses to level up, stuff like that, which will be a lot easier than just leveling up straight up from Warzone. Things like that. Daily and bounties. On my list of things to do, we can expect those around the same time as capture points. They're all very easy plugins to implement. I just have to create them. I haven't gotten around to them yet. When can we rate each other? This was answered earlier. It's going to be 2 weeks from a release date. And as you can see, actually Energy answered this for us. Gen buckets needs to fix. Yes, of course. When they will be fixed, we're aiming for this weekend so that everybody has at least a week to build their bases with gen buckets or to catch up with their bases. Can you break spawners in any way? Currently, it's bugged. It's one of the many bugs that we have currently. I apologize for that. We can actually expect a bug fix today. I was planning on doing so. And then why are mobs not compacted into blazes 20x, for example? So at the time of this, they actually were, and then they got removed again. So we currently have mobs stackable, but there's a little bit of a bug with the stack mob plugin that we're working to fix. And as soon as we do fix it, we'll expect mobs to regularly stack. When you kill them, they'll drop a multiply of their drops, and then those will work. As for spawners, how to break them, currently it will be set up. It's still being worked on. But it's just, you break your spawner, it's going to cost you a certain amount of money, a percentage of the spawner value, in order to break it and replace it somewhere else. What's the newest version of MC you can join on? So this was fixed last night. Before we were only on 1.12.2. Now you can join on any version above 1.12.2, as well as you can join on Bedrock Edition. So we are a faction server that supports Bedrock players. Heck yeah. And I think we are actually the first PitForge remake to do so. So this is the first time any player who's seen PitForge videos as a Bedrock player can actually join, play on Xbox, their phone, anything. I don't know, all the Switch, things like that, right? So very awesome. I was excited about it. Finally got it working. I spent a lot of time trying to get that working. We had a conflicting plugin with it, but we actually got it done, which is awesome. Very, very awesome. Could you maybe add a method to reset skill points without being pay to win? For example, add a buyable item or give everyone 1 free skill point reset user that resets every week, or maybe one that is only 1 time usable. Pay to win is arguable here because resetting your skills with a skill reset, if you have to buy the skill reset, doesn't make you win the game. It just resets how you play the game. I just want to make sure we get that point across on skill resets. That being said, there is a plan for a free skill reset. Currently what we've done in the past, if you were below level 10, you'd get a free one to use at any point in time, like starter skill reset. But we have another implementation that we're planning to do where you could sacrifice 3 levels or so and you'll lose 3 levels, but it will completely reset your skills, so you don't have to pay IRL money for it. And then there's also going to be other implementations where you can get skill resets in game, whether it's going to be through events, season passes, that type of thing, crates, or it's just straight up using the credit system where you can earn free credits in game. There will be multiple implementations to earn anything without having to pay for it. So there's theoretically, you could hop online and just grind nonstop, and you can get a lot of items for free, a lot of ranks for free, that type of thing. How many regen walls are allowed, and more importantly, what is the definition of one regen wall? So currently how we set up regens is pretty straightforward in my mind. A regen wall, I define it as a block on a single Y level that generates after it's blown up. So if you blow up a piece of cobblestone and then it regenerates however many seconds later, that is one regen wall. So if you have one cobblestone here, one lava here, and then another cobblestone here, and the cobblestone on either side of the lava regenerates, that means that you have 2 regen walls. So keep that in mind. So that way you could build a wall many different ways, but any amount of blocks that is regen on the same Y level is defined as a regen wall. Currently, we're not allowing 45s where you have like a regen setup, because technically that is the same concept, but the way you break the walls, it will actually not be just one regen, it'd be multiple. So like if you broke here, it would regen maybe one down and one there or something. 45s are complicated, we don't allow 45s, but the same concept applies. Any sort of regen wall that currently exists, if you break a block and that block regenerates in some capacity, then it is a regen wall, one unit of. So you could have one here, and then one like all the way right next to the like very interior of your base. That is technically 3 regen walls altogether, right? It doesn't matter how many lava sources there are, how many blocks are generated is each regen wall. Hopefully I explained that well. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, hit me down below in this comments, or just straight up join the Discord on our rules, play.pitforge.games/rules. All of our rules are listed there. How is it possible that so many things don't work or require fixing? Wasn't the server already fine in the past? When I played back in 2018 and didn't experience any issues whatsoever, and everything seemed to work fine. So yes and no. There's a couple different points to hit here. What we released back in 2019 as Prison Forge. There was an original owner, and then I purchased the server from him. When I purchased it from him, everything was working relatively smoothly, and this was back in peak, I don't know, back when there was a lot of bugs that weren't discovered yet. So things that were normally fixed then, we just haven't explored enough to find bugs. That doesn't mean they weren't there. There were some instances where bugs weren't there, but as things kept evolving, certain bugs started getting discovered. And the core server that we were running at that time is very outdated in comparison to now. So catching up with current version clients, catching up with any sort of aspect of plugins that have been since updated and have different libraries to hook into and or require. Some of those libraries may no longer work in today's time without specific adaptions, and some of those adaptions may not be maintained. The code that we had back in 2019, we are not using. The only thing that we may be using that is the same is public plugins like WorldGuard, World Edit, things like that. Even then, those have been properly updated and maintained by third-party users, whomever may be running those plugins. So that is the reason why, even though we had stuff working back in 2018, the libraries and such that we used back then are no longer usable. There's been multiple security level exploits that have needed to be patched, like the log4j exploit. For those who are unfamiliar, it basically allowed anybody who hosted a server, I think on any version before that update, which is like 1.16, any player can come online and execute a command in-game through chat, and it would give them remote access of the entirety of the server that was being hosted. Like, not even just the Minecraft server, the machine that the Minecraft server is being hosted on. They would have full access to it, which is an insane concept. And that was a huge exploit at the time, and so many servers lost so much. It's really insane that it happened. But that has since been patched, but the patch that has been released is not like a in-depth patch. It's more of like a slap on the issue type patch that the band-aid is still going to fall off, but it's there, right? So it works, but it doesn't. So and nobody's going to continue to maintain those specific versions, the 1.12, which is what we're currently running, because it's not a current updated server. Nobody wants to continue working on what they're called legacy builds. They want to continue working on the future builds, like the 1.21, that type of thing. So currently, we're on 1.12, and we have gotten everything we need, mostly. We're still working on some of the plugins, but eventually we're going to get to the point where we have very little known bugs. Of course, we're going to continue patching bugs as they produce. And I'm going to say this once, I'm going to say it again, there's always going to be bugs. It is so impossibly hard to have any sort of any type of technological environment without any bugs. You can look into any multi-billion-dollar industry. Doesn't matter what. If they have some sort of software, there's going to be bugs. I'm not saying this to excuse and be like, oh, we're going to have bugs, so don't complain about it. Complain about the bugs. We want to fix them. We want to know about them. So if you find them, let us know. But just take a little bit of a step back, realize we're currently one developer team. We are looking to expand. I am putting a lot of time into this. Like I said, I took 6 weeks off to work on this. I'm very happy where it's gone. Still needs a lot of work, but that is my current justification for why everything is where it is. And we're going to continue. Don't worry. We're going to increase. We're going to be better. We've already done major improvements, like I said, on lag, and a lot of the major bugs that we've seen, the dupes, so we've been very quick to handle. Let's go to the next part, shall we? Alrighty. So we were last discussing why everything needed fixing. So I believe we covered that well enough. Why did you remove mobs? Will you add them back once the server runs well? Will you add some bosses? It'd be great since this is an RPG server. Factuals. Let's handle this as we can. Currently, mobs are not in Warzone. The way we have it set up, server should be fine to handle it, but we also have a mob stacking plugin that isn't working like I want it to. So as soon as the mob stacking plugin is, I'm gonna have to remake it. We'll be able to have mobs in Warzone so they're not stacking and doing what we want, and also be able to control the mob spawning rate as well in Warzone a little bit better, because it was spawning too many, and they also were just kind of annoying more than a hindrance, so I'll actually make them a little bit stronger and deeper disparities, so they're actually more of a threat. So that's the plan with mobs currently. As for server running well, mobs actually aren't affecting it that much currently, so we don't have to worry about that aspect, luckily. Bosses, yes, definitely planned. We're gonna have so many different types of bosses. There's gonna be like event bosses, and there's gonna be consistent bosses, and then there's gonna be boss drops, which can be turned into boss rewards, and you can get things like insurances and then new items, that type. I have so many plans. Of course, we're still trying to keep that OG Pitforge aspect, and we're going to continue to maintain that as our core, but there's definitely going to be released content where we're going to focus more towards the RPG server path. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. But yes, that is the current plan for the mob system here. How do gen buckets work? Great question. They don't currently work, but when they do, it'll be very simple. You buy a bucket, there's going to be a refillable option, and then just a regular one-time use option. The one-time use option, you just click it, and then it will build in the certain direction that it's will tell you. So there's going to be horizontal ones that build like that, and then there's going to be ones that are vertical up and down. The vertical up and down ones are going to be two different types. So you have the sand ones where you have to build from the bottom. So you place the sand bucket at the bottom, and then it'll build straight up with sand. And then there's going to be all the other ones, which are going to be gen buckets that go down. So wherever you place the block, that block will just gen straight down until it hits another block. So pretty straightforward, I believe. And then there's also going to be the vertical ones where those will continue to generate until it hits a border where you're not able to build anymore. And so that's how the internal logics for all of the buckets will work, is that they'll just keep going until the area that it hits, you're no longer able to build. And once it hits one block of that, then it just stops altogether. So that's how gen buckets work. Oh, and then the refillable ones, you'll click it, and then it will build whatever direction it suggests, and then it'll just charge you an X amount of money per right-click use. Doesn't matter how many blocks are built, it's just only for that right-click use. That's how our gen bucket logic will work. What is going to be done against all the cheating? We have been very active recently with making sure that players are being legitimate on the server. There's been a lot of AFK grinders, which is to be expected, something that Pitforge had a lot of, and we're very harsh on the punishments currently. Right now, we're being a little bit softer than I would like to be. So if you're found hacking, cheating in some way, shape, or form by grinding for levels, your levels are reset. That will always be consistent. If you are found hacking, cheating, fighting players, B-Hop, Aura, anything against another player, you will be completely reset. Level set to 0, ender chest wiped, PV wiped, any and all progress will be completely reset. So literally everything will be completely reset on your account. If you're prestiged, which may or may not happen at some point, prestige will be implemented, you can and will lose prestige progress, which is inherently a permanent aspect of something you can keep. Don't cheat on the server and you'll be fine. It's just something that we have to do to enforce and help make sure players don't cheat on the server. So that's step one. We're handling the reports. We do have a staff team that is currently growing, and we're looking to focus more on it. I'm also, because recently we did have one false ban today, which is going to happen. There's going to be mistakes. Like I said, we'd rather nip the problem in the bud right now and worry about the consequences later than to allow rampant cheating altogether, because rampant cheating will also kill the server given the opportunity, or it'll just make everybody else cheat because they're like, oh well, they're cheating, and getting away with it, so we should do it as well. There's also been cheaters who have been not happy that we've banned them, and I'm sorry to say, I don't cheat on the server. It's all I can really say about that. I promise on everything I hold dear, 100% of the bans that we're going to be doing are 100% of the bans that I have personally oversee will be done with 100% conviction that they are bans, like legitimately needed to be banned. There's already been one instance, like I said today, so far is the only ban that I know about, because I do go over them in my free time. I go over each individual one when it comes to cheaters, because those are a lot more controversial than the standard, oh, they said a slur type situation. Obviously, you know what the answer to that's going to be. They said slur, they're going to get muted. Pretty straightforward. But yeah, so I did go over the punishment. To give an example, we don't show footage. This is for players' sake and staff's sake. It's just to save everybody time. We don't show footage, but we do our best to look over it. If it gets to the point that something is controversial enough, we may go over it even further, and I may make a video on it and be like, hey, here's why. Here's also why we don't show footage, that type of thing. I'll go over really quickly why we don't show footage. We don't want the players who report other players to get targeted, because sometimes friends are reporting friends, and that could be for whatever reason. I don't want to cause relationships to strain in that sort of way. There could be instances where it breeds toxicity because people are like, oh, he's a snake for reporting me for hacking when he was in my faction or stuff like that. It's literally, I'm trying to reduce the amount of drama if possible. Blame it on me, that's fine, I can take it. If you want to call me dumb owner, that's fine, I can take it as well. We're doing our best to handle the cheating aspects. But like I said, there was an instance today where there was a cheater, or a suspected cheater, I should say, because actually I did unban the player because I did not think it was enough evidence based off what was supplied. It's about like a minute clip where the suspected player was using aura, reach, and potential speed hacks. This was all the accused. And to give context here, there was 6 different hits that landed in the entire fight. Nobody died. There were 6 hits landed on the victim. And when those hits landed, I actually listed it here. From the footage that we saw, the hit was literally when the 2 players were standing on top of each other, so it's impossible to tell what was going on there because players are way too close. For the second hit, it was too laggy to tell because literally right before the hit landed, one player was floating midair, the other one was trying to smack him, nothing was happening. That could have been player lag on ping for either end. It could have been server lag, which would definitely made it worse as well. So we don't know exactly what was happening in that moment. Based off of the footage, we can't supply a definitive answer that hit 2 was enough evidence, right? Definitely suspicious, because when the player landed the hit, it seems like their head snapped right like a second before. Literally, it was aiming in one direction, and then right when the hit landed, the head snapped. But you have to keep in mind that between hit 1 and 2 is literally like a half-second delay, and so you can actually see that that still could have been a byproduct of the lag that was happening during hits 1 and 2. So 2 and 3, that 1 second delay, it's too close to tell. It could have been the server trying to catch back up if the server was lagging, or it could have been the suspected cheaters information being sent over a little bit too fast because they were lagging, so it was a whole bunch of information from their computer getting sent to our server all at once, so it seems like they're moving a little bit faster, hitting a little bit faster, that type of thing. This is where anti-cheats come in, and they're able to tell the difference between that. They can see the ping in real time, they can see the player's movements in real time, they can see the server ping in real time and the TPS and all that, and it'll be able to make educated decisions a lot better. We don't currently have an anti-cheat that is well enough. I have 2 that I'm currently researching, one that I've used in the past that has a really good success rate on flagging players, and then 100% success rate on banning players. I literally had not one false ban when I used it. And another one that I'm learning currently that we're going to be implementing soon. But like I said, that's for hits 1 through 3, and then for hit 4, 5, and 6, we can't see enough information because it looked like the player was far away, but as the player was running away, the other player was catching up. And the way ping works, sure, there could be 8 blocks of distance, right? I think the normal hit range is 4 or 3. So if a player gets within 4 blocks, they're allowed to hit. But if you have one person 8 blocks away, another person 8 blocks away chasing, and the server, for whatever reason, lags for one player's perspective, it could thereby allow enough time to catch up in that lag spike. And then this player is now able to hit this player because I've caught up, even though this player is still 8 blocks away by definition. And so they will hit, the server will register it, oh, you can't, no, sorry. This player's client will register it as, oh, you are 3 blocks away, you can land that hit, so we will send that hit packet to the server. The server will read it and be like, I mean, looks good to me, fuck it. And then it'll do it. And then, even though it's like this, right? And so the player will be over here, and then it catches up a little bit, and it registers. Another thing as well, there could be a ping delay where this player will hit, and they're really far away, but by the time that packet hits that they have landed the hit, right, the server will be like, oh, we can see that you landed a hit on a player that was at this block coordinate, but you're also now caught up because you had like a 3-second delay, but now you're within 3 blocks, so yeah, that packet should hit, so we're going to mark that as yes, the packet should hit, even though the player's all the way over here. So there's stuff like that where there's a delay in speed. Just because it looks like reach does not mean it's inherently reach, because the hit could land, but because players are moving in different directions, it's hard to tell whether or not that hit was actually reach or if it was a player moving away from another player while the hit was landing. So that's why you can theoretically have somebody fighting 4 block range, lands a hit correctly, but as soon as this person, like as soon as this guy attacks, this person moves. And this guy hasn't taken the damage yet. He's seen the attack swing of the player. It registered here that the attack landed, but the damage hasn't hit yet. But the damage hits here when it's 6 blocks away, and they're like, oh, that's sus, but that's literally just a little bit of a delay, and it looks like reach. So this is one of the big things that needs to be focused on when defining reach, and also why it makes reach very hard to define, except when you know the real-time data of what's happening. So if you know server's not lagging, player's not lagging, they have really good ping, then it's kind of like cut and dry. That's a little suspicious. We'll follow up with more follow-through on what needs to be done. But like I said, player was unbanned because after further evidence, or after further review of the evidence, it was not 100%. Definitely I'm going to be teaching the staff, going over what to look for, what we can't ban for, what we can ban for, and maybe we'll do some public information videos about those. And unfortunately, the biggest issue is as technology evolves, there's always going to be better clients, and we're always going to have to buy better anti-cheats, and it's always going to be just an ever-going issue. We'll see how we handle it. So that's the hacker problem, and we will continue handling that as we can. Somebody asked when the server's back up. Server's currently running. If it ever does go down and it's not actively announced, like a crash or whatnot, you should expect the server to come back. If the server crashes, I'm not online, or like, let's say this, if the server goes down, I'm not online, it's not a planned restart, and there's nothing announcements, you might have to wait for me to wake up, or another admin to get online, or another owner, because then they'll be able to handle it, and it might just be a crash that it's not going to auto reboot from. But if it's me online, it should be up literally within a moment. Our reboot timer currently is literally 1 minute, and that's from clicking restart button on the console to all the way to be rejoinable again. So it's really, really fast reboot timer at the moment, and that saves all the data and everything. Okay, so let's see here. Will poppies be removed from IGs? They will. That will be its update with TNT drops from creepers, as well as creeper eggs from creepers, and other drops that we'll be planning. It'll be all one small update. Why are mobs getting counted as 1 when they are 15 stacked? A little bit of bug with the plugin that we're using. Like I said, we do have to remake that because it's not working as intended. We got some troll questions, comments here. Why we're not aiming for lower TPS. Obviously, we want the highest TPS possible. Actually, we want a TPS of 20. If the TPS is too high, things move too quickly. We don't want that. That means it's trying to catch up. We just want flat rate of 20 TPS. What is my favorite flavor of ice cream? Thank you for just a random question. I appreciate that. Mixes up a little bit. Let's zoom in. My favorite flavor of ice cream is Oreo. Cookies and cream, actually, not Oreo. So, shit's good. Or, if I had to choose, like, a combination to be Neapolitan, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of strawberry, a little bit of vanilla, that always goes hard. Thank you for the, nice change of pace, Jars. I appreciate it. When is the problem with fperms and custom homes solved? They are getting reset after every server start. I do apologize for that. We are using a new plugin, and it's currently not working as it's supposed to. We can expect that patched by the weekend. I'm currently patching bugs as they come as fast as I can. But don't have a set time for it, but I'm just, like I said, patching things as soon as I get the notification about, and it's in my, fitting in my roster. Patching bugs, releasing new content, all trying to do as fast as I can, I promise. I think that's kind of it for this episode. I've been recording for 2.5 hours. About an hour of it I spent dealing with other stuff on the server just to show that I am actively doing things all the time. Congratulations to all those who won the giveaway. We'll be doing another giveaway in this video. Very simple. Literally just comment down below your in-game name, and you'll get to participate in it. We'll do a rank upgrade. And let me see what else. What other giveaways have we done? I'll do a rank upgrade and $25 Buycraft credit based off the amount of entries for every 10 players that enter this. No, every 15 players that enter this giveaway, we'll do one more winner. So we'll do one winner by default, and then so if we have 100 people enter it, that's good. We want that. So comment your IGN down below. Leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you like my content, stay tuned for more. I hope to see you on the next episode. Adios, and have a fantabulous day. Peace.